know that nearly 200 years ago, a genus was discovered that is still rooted in mystery up until this day? The genus of Dryopithecus, with at least one uncontested species, Dryopithecus fontani, but there may be more species in this genus that will hopefully be discovered and assigned in the future. Some of these other species might have already been discovered, but as of yet, they have been contested to belong in the Dryopithecus genus. It might actually be that the African great apes that eventually led into us, Homo sapiens sapiens, had their origins in Europe as the European Miocene apes. The location of Europe most likely played quite a critical part when it comes to the fate of the African great apes and eventually the human clade. So Dryopithecus seems to be one of the keys to our understanding where we as a species ultimately originate from. So my name is Kaylee, and this video continues my research into the European great apes from the Miocene with the focus on the genus of Dryopithecus. So all the way back in 1856, French paleontologist Edouard Lartet described the first Dryopithecus fossils. This was actually 3 years before Charles Darwin published On the Origins of Species. 15 years after the fossils were first discovered, Charles Darwin mentioned the species in his The Descent of Man, where he noted that Dryopithecus casts doubt on the African origin of apes. So the fossils had been found in France in 1856. Other fossils have been discovered in Spain and Austria. There have been fossils found in eastern China and in India. These are sometimes placed in the Dryopithecus genus, but it seems that they belong to a different genus, Dryopithecus. So for the sake of this particular video, I will just look at Dryopithecus, and in the future I will create a separate video on the genus of Dryopithecus. Another place where possible Dryopithecus fossils may have been found is in Western Kenya, discovered in 1966 by Louis Leakey. But these fossils have been assigned to a different genus before being placed back into Dryopithecus and have been contested to belong into the Dryopithecus genus. So therefore, I will not focus on the Kenyan fossils in this video. You know, that could be another video for the future as well. So as I mentioned, there is one uncontested species in the genus of Dryopithecus. Its name comes from the ancient Greek words drus, meaning oak tree, and pithecus, meaning ape. This was because it's believed this genus of apes lived in an oak forest in what is now modern-day Europe. The type species name is Fontani, and it comes from honoring the person who actually discovered the very first fossils, local French collector Monsieur Alfred Fontaine. So where have the fossils been found of Dryopithecus? Dryopithecus fontani? Well, the fossils have been found in the French Pyrenees at Saint-Gaudens, in Saint-Alban-de-Roche in southeast of France, in Valpenede in Catalonia, Spain, and in Carinthia in Austria. Still quite southern in European terms. So for a long time, it was actually thought that they were a direct ancestor of the African great apes and eventually humans. You know, us, modern humans. But recent years have placed Dryopithecus in relation to Ponginae, the subfamily of the modern-day orangutan, which is quite a difference. But honestly, there's still very much debate on where they should be placed in the evolutionary timeline. The tribe of Dryopithecini are believed to be close to the ancestry of gorillas, chimpanzees, and humans. And only a paper or two published in the 1990s mentioned that they are more closely related to orangutans, which are the least related to us humans in the evolutionary timeline. So as you can see, there is a lot of mystery surrounding this genus and species. So like I said in the start of this video, this genus and species is surrounded in mystery and questions. A European Miocene great ape that we haven't been able to conclusively fit into the evolutionary tree, so to speak. Or, you know, evolutionary river. whatever you want to call it. So instead of focusing on what we don't know, I like to focus on what we do know, on what we have uncovered about this mysterious genus of ape species. And even within the genus of Dryopithecus, there actually used to be quite a few species assigned, such as Fontani, Brancoi, Laetanus, Crusafonti, and Carinthiacus. That's 5. But today only Fontani has been recognized as a species in the Dryopithecus genus. The others have been assigned into different genera, such as Rudapithecus, Uranopithecus, and Hispanopithecus. All these Pithecus names. Wow, wow, wow. So the reason the other previously thought species of Dryopithecus were assigned to different genera has everything to do with the discovery of a partial Dryopithecus skull in 2009. 2009 was actually quite a big year when it comes to Dryopithecus and other European Miocene apes. This was the year that it was theorized that the African great apes that eventually led into us, Homo sapiens sapiens, had their origins in Europe as the European Miocene apes. It seems that the location of Europe played quite a critical part when it comes to the fate of the African great apes and the human clade. So Dryopithecus seems to be one of the keys to our understanding where we ultimately originate from. While they are rooted in mystery and unanswered questions, just like the other Miocene apes from Europe, they do seem to have been of the utmost importance. There are mentions of Dryopithecus originating in Africa. But at the same time, there are mentions that they originate either in Europe or Asia. So while their exact origins are unknown, we do know that they lived mostly in the expanding forests in the warm climates of Europe during the Miocene. We do know that they lived mostly in the expanding forests in the warm climates of Europe during the Miocene climatic optimum, which was a warm period. Because during this time Africa was a lot drier, much less suited for habitation. During a drying and cooling trend in Europe during the Middle Miocene climate transition, which resulted in a sharp drop in global temperatures, the European great apes disappeared. Most likely, they went extinct. But it is very possible that during the Middle Miocene disruption, a cooling event during the Miocene, the species of Dryopithecus migrated down south into Africa and possibly eventually led to the other African great apes that led to us, modern humans. So as you can imagine, at this point of watching this video, there is so much unknown about this genus of ancient extinct great apes from Europe. And at this point, you might wonder if we even know anything about this species at all. Well, thankfully, we do. It's not much, but we know something. So what do we know about Dryopithecus? The teeth of Dryopithecus are mostly resembling the teeth of modern chimps. They are small and have thin enamel. So the jaw of Dryopithecus was very slender, which indicates that it wasn't suited for eating hard and abrasive foods. So the molars are wide and the premolars even wider. The mouth has a wide roof, and they have a long muzzle and a large nose, which is oriented almost vertically to the face. So the Dryopithecus males had larger canines than the females, which is associated with high levels of aggression in modern primates. The face shows many similarities to the gorilla, but the early to middle Miocene African apes do not share such similarities with the gorillas. So it's actually believed that Dryopithecus evolved their gorilla-like features independently rather than it being a result of close affinities with the African Miocene apes. So the upper arm bone, otherwise known as the humerus, is similar in size to the bonobo, you know, the pygmy chimpanzee. The shaft of the humerus bows outwards, and the insertion for the triceps and the deltoids was poorly developed in Dryopithecus, just like we see in bonobos. This suggests that Dryopithecus was not as well adapted to suspensory behavior such as orangutans are. You know, orangutans, they hang from branches as they eat, and it's very comfortable for them. The femur indicates a quadrupedal mode of locomotion, rather than suspensory behavior, which is actually quite odd when we look at the diet of Dryopithecus. They mostly ate fruit, and fruit trees back in the Miocene and the area where Dryopithecus fossils were found were typically between 5 and 12 meters high, and the fruit would hang from thinner branches from the treetops. Dryopithecus mostly ate fruit, as evidence of cavities on the teeth of the Austrian Dryopithecus fossils. They indicate a high sugar diet, which mostly came from ripe fruits and honey. So the height of the fruit on the trees actually suggests suspensory behavior to reach the fresh fruit, as it is highly unlikely that this species would just be on the ground and wait until the fruit would fall from the trees before they were able to eat them. Not enough fruit falls, and usually it's not even ripe anymore. It's bad. So they had to have been able to climb the trees and reach the fruit, even though their bodies actually suggest that they weren't well adapted for this kind of suspensory behavior. It is believed that a male Dryopithecus would weigh around 44 kilograms, which is around 97 pounds for my non-metric viewers. So this weight estimation is actually based on measurements of the femoral head of a Spanish fossil of the species. You know, the one that they found in 2009. So as I said at the very start of this video, Dryopithecus is a genus and species rooted in mystery. And while there is so much unknown and so little known, I have full faith that as time goes on, we will learn more about this genus and species. But until then, this is what we have uncovered so far. So what do you think about this species of European great apes from the Miocene? Let me know in the comments down below. And with that said, if you enjoyed watching, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more of these kind of videos, and click that bell icon if you want to be notified whenever I upload. If you haven't seen my previous videos yet, then click the card in the upper right corner, or click one of the links in the description down below. They go straight to my playlist, or you can click a video in the end card. Whatever floats your boat, so to speak. I would like to take a moment to thank my patrons and my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me. Really relieves a little bit of the stress that I'm currently facing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.